Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Ruben?
Yes, Braxton.
How you doing, Ruben?
Pleasure.
I gotta use that hand.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference between the Trigger 2 and the Trigger 3?
FJX 3M, there's a couple of differences. Probably the biggest difference is the fact that it has a removable battery now.
Okay.
So this is a lithium ion battery that you can spend $30 and replace, so you can have one ready to go. In addition to the battery changing capability, and I'll turn it on, the interface is exactly the same. So anybody who's migrating from version 2 to version 3 won't see any difference in terms of the way it works.
Yeah.
Mostly, a little bit of change. But in terms of physical changes, there's a D-pad now that allows you to choose as opposed to the wheel. Now, we did get rid of the sub-menu blocks that were at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
And we put it into a sub-menu that is accessed by pressing that menu button. And that is one that will allow you to change camera, sync, things of that nature. You press it and hold it. And that allowed us to put a fourth button on here to access groups. As you know, there are 6 groups. Group A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Yeah.
So now you can see 4 groups simultaneously as opposed to the 3 before.
Okay.
It kind of makes it seem like the screen's bigger, but it's not. It's the exact same size. So those are the biggest differences. And of course, we decided to come out with one that's dedicated for Sony.
Okay.
For Sony users, you had to have an adapter.
Yes.
We got rid of the adapter, and now we have one that terminates to a Sony mount.
Okay.
So we have one that will be the FJX3S, obviously for Sony, and the FJX3M, which is for multi-brand. Now, that can also be used on Sony, but only in a manual mode.
Okay.
So if you want to be able to access TTL and high-speed sync, you want the dedicated Sony version.
Right.
And there's no change in price. It's still $99.90.
So how about the FJ82? What happened in the difference there?
The FJ82 has a larger battery,
Okay.
and that will give you about 20% more life than the previous version. It also has a vented head to give you better thermal performance.
Okay.
And we've kind of made a little bit of tweak to the body design, so it's a little bit narrower and sleeker, but the interface is identical to the original.
Okay.
So probably the biggest change that end users will see is that the battery is bigger, and so they get a little longer life.
So with the FJ82, you can still use that as a trigger for your...
That's correct. That's correct, because the FJX3 is built into that unit. So you could use it in host mode to control lights. You can put it in client mode so that you have the trigger and control it off camera, or you could have it as a traditional Speedlight on the camera itself.
Is there anything new coming out to you to talk about?
I can't.
Okay.
But there will be more product on the way.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.